Okay, Robert, I think the first thing to do before we even start playing the video is just get you to tell us a bit about yourself. I understand you have a yacht or you skip a one. Just clue us in.
I'm a charter yacht captain. I've been in the Virgin Islands for 13 years, and I've been chartering for 10 of those. Previous to that, I did day sailing, but ever since I've been in the Virgin Islands, I've been on boats, living and working.
Well,
and
I'm
so
very
now
jealous.
I'm
What do you have to do to not have to work for a living and do something fun like that?
Well, it ended up being a lot more work than I anticipated. It looks great from the outside, but there's an awful lot that goes on kind of behind the sails that ends up being the real challenge. Taking people out and for a vacation is kind of the fun part. The times when I don't have guests on board is where the work seems to really happen.
Myself and anybody listening to this is going to be thinking, yeah, our hearts bleed for you.
Well, I'm not asking for any sympathy. I made some good choices, and they can do the same if they want. It does take a little bit of sacrifice, but it's been worth it.
So in the in-between period, you're out there scrubbing the deck and cleaning out off the hull and doing stuff like that, are you?
Exactly, yeah.
So
all kinds of engine maintenance and cleaning and prepping and doing all kinds of stuff. But that's been a good learning curve as well. So a lot of people could probably go sailing, but then what's required to keep the boat running is where the real learning and challenges occur.
Yeah, I imagine they're fairly high maintenance, aren't they?
They sure are.
I got a motorhome, and that's bad enough. Introduce salt water, and it's another dimension entirely.
It is.
Ignore that man behind the curtain.
What does that mean?
Oh, the Great Oz from The Wizard of Oz. You know,
I
there's a guy.
get the reference, yeah, but what's that?
Well, it's just like, people going on charter, they don't need to know, like, how the sausage is made.
Oh, yeah. Right. That's funny. This particular video and vacation is just one experience of one of your clients. Is that right?
It is. They were on their honeymoon. He had a lot of GoPro footage that he wanted to share, and so it was pretty representational of what a week is like. And I thought it ended up being some pretty good stuff. I don't have time to do it myself, and my chef usually doesn't either. So when a guest kind of provides us with that, it's kind of a bonus.
You mean taking the video? You don't have time to sit around just playing video cameras and taking pictures? Right.
Yeah, I'm on the job. I'm doing stuff. So when he had plenty of time, and with only 2 passengers, it gave us a lot of opportunity. So I was excited by the way a lot of it turned out.
I gotta say, it's just like, what an awesome type of vacation. I mean, honeymoons are always, I think, a little bit traumatic because you want to kind of do something special, and it just seems to me like an awesome type of holiday or vacation for a honeymoon.
Yeah, it's ideal, and they had a great time. A lot of opportunity to relax and then be active at the same time. You can mix it however you want, and they did a good job of doing both. She got plenty of time to read. He loves to sail. Then they both would do things together. We went diving with the husband, and it was cool. It's nice to be reminded sometimes. Just today we were walking the dogs, and some guests came by and said, "Do you live here?" And we said, "Yeah." And they just said, "Wow, it must be amazing." And it's nice to kind of be reminded of that sometimes. And I think this video does that for me.
Yeah, you can end up taking almost anything for granted, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
So what time of year was it when this week that they had?
This was the beginning of November.
Right, and is that a kind of a good time to do this?
It is. There isn't really a bad time. Between the 1st of June and the end of November is considered hurricane season, but we're very consistent in our weather and temperatures here. So water temperatures generally in the low 80s, almost year-round. Air temperature at the hottest is 95 in the summer and 85 in the winter. So it's only about 10 degrees different from summer to winter. There's hardly any change, other than the winds can sometimes get a little lighter in the summer, although this summer we had terrific wind all summer. So Very consistent, which makes it part of why it's such a popular cruising ground, is because you do have plenty of wind to sail on and plenty of warm water all around year-round. We don't have what's considered a rainy season at all.
I'm going to play the video a bit, so just tell us what's going on and what the location is and, you know, anything that you think is kind of relevant. Here we go. They're obviously in a canoe of some kind.
Here we're in a kayak right outside of the Babs at Virgin Gorda, which is a special geographical rock formation with a natural trail that runs through it and little pools. It's a highlight of any charter in Virgin Gorda. The Babs is spectacular. It's very hard to describe. You just kind of have to come and see it. It's these house-sized boulders with a natural beach trail that runs through it and little pools of crystal water and framed photograph images and stuff. It's a spectacular place. It's only one of two places like it on Earth that has that geological makeup. So that's always a highlight to go through there. I kind of saved that till the middle or near the end. After that, it's kind of hard to top. It's a really special place.
Huh. Is it something you would typically just spend a day at and hang out in, or what would you typically be doing?
For our purposes, because we have the flexibility with the liveaboard, we tend to go in the afternoon, after 3 p.m. It's kind of a small area, and it's a very popular destination. So we wait until the day trippers funnel out of there, and then I bring my guests on, and the light's better for photography. And so from about 3 to 6 p.m. is what I found the sweet spot to enjoy that area. So that's usually when I try and go. And then I follow that up with a sunset cruise for the rest of the evening up to a different point on Virgin Gorda.
You're going to get to a part in this video where they're walking through the baths and exploring the baths. Yes, so you'll see a lot of the baths in this video.
Awesome. Is this you, or is...
No, that's the guest, and he is hauling in on the jib sheet. We're underneath the fly bridge, which is a very popular feature on the boat now. Instead of just a small covering, we have a hard top that's lighted and has speakers in it with music and stuff. So, and on top I've got solar panels. You can't see it. Oh, there it is. That you can just see the underneath part of it there. So there's shade and everything, and that's under full sail there. This is a 44 Lagoon is the make. It's a French-made boat. 44 is the length of it. It's 44 feet. It is an owner's edition. So on one pontoon, those are also called amas.
So it's a catamaran.
Yes, it's a catamaran. And one whole ama, it's called an owner's edition. So that is a suite with a head and a couch and a navigation station and a bed, and that takes up one whole side of the catamaran. And then the other side is split into 2 cabins and 2 heads. A lot of catamarans have 4 cabins, and this one's sort of special because the owner's edition features an extended cabin on one side. It has 2 inboard diesel 55-horse Volvo engines. It's got a fully battened mainsail, an oversized Genoa jib sail, full galley and refrigeration, freezer, solar-powered, extensive house batteries, air-conditioned.
So this guy's getting stuck in for the look of it. Was he like an experienced sailor, or was he just having a go, or?
He had been down as a teenager with his parents and was an avid sailor and was looking forward to coming back and helping to sail the boat. So he really wanted to be involved, and the boat is set up so that you can do everything from the helm. I could single-hand it if I wanted to, but it makes it really easy for the guests to pitch in if they want to. I always offer, do you want to drive? Do you want to raise sail? Whatever you want to do, I'm happy to teach you. Or if you already know what you're doing, then just follow my commands.
Yeah, I do. If it was me, I would. Yeah, I'd want to get stuck in.
Yeah, I'll yell at you and tell you what to do. Despite that opportunity, a lot of people are just content to sit back and watch me do it.
Yeah.
And they'll ask questions and stuff, but he liked to stay busy.
Yeah, I can relate. I'm one of those people, when I go on a vacation, I'll get bored if I sit around too long, so I've got to be doing something. So a sailing vacation for me is ideal because there's plenty to do when you want to.
There is, yeah, and that kept him busy, and he was super happy doing that, and the wife was more than content to read her book. So it worked out. I think it was a good choice for them, because they were kind of opposites in their approach to a day.
I'm sure most people understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are we looking at there?
This looks like a place called the Fallen Jerusalem, which is right outside of Virgin Gorda. It's kind of a mini version of the baths. It's also a dive location, and what I tend to do is set up there and wait until that 3 o'clock hour and then zip over to the baths. It's a totally isolated anchorage. There's only 2 mooring balls in it, and so the most boats that can ever get there are 2. And I usually post up there, and we do a kayak beach, swim, snorkel, while we wait for all the tourists to leave the baths. So it's a very convenient stop, and it's gorgeous. In some ways it has an appeal over the baths, but most people, there isn't really a trail there, so we have to get over to the baths after that. But I always try and stop there on the way, because it's a nice introduction to the kind of experience you're going to have when you reach the baths.
So is that the lazy bones wife there, just sitting back enjoying the view?
Yeah, staying in the shade, again underneath that hardtop bimini, which is a newly added feature, and a lot of boats don't have that, so it provides a lot of shade. It also has lights and speakers in it for stereo, so that's really functions as extending our seating, and then you can sit without getting all burned up and watch the action if you want to. So we're really happy with that feature on there. It did not come with the boat. It was added on later.
So is that you at the wheel there? What do you call it? Do you call it the wheel?
Yeah, the wheel or the helm is the technical term, and that is me. So we're driving along.
Oh, that looks like fun.
Oh,
she's doing some work. She's doing something.
Oh, she is. I think she's getting ready to help tack the sail over. Or not? No, we're rolling it up. So she's easing that line. As you see, the front sail is starting to twist up into a roller furling.
She doesn't look like she's working that hard.
Now this is, we're coming in, and my chef is out there with the wife, and we're coming into an anchorage to grab a mooring ball. So they've got a boat hook in the front, and they grab a mooring pennant line, and then we clip it to the front of the boat, and it's like a quick way to anchor without having to use the actual anchor.
The thing I really get with these Catamarans is there's just so much room on them compared to monohull.
Super spacious, yeah. The monohull's kind of like living in a hallway, and the Catamaran is just a great platform. There's room for everybody and everything, so it's really big advantage.
Okay, so now we're on a beach.
This looks like
sorry, I've got to go back.
Anegada.
What is that? Some kind of alien flying there. What's that? Oh, it's a kite. Oh, no. Oh, I see what it is. It's somebody actually, what do you call it?
Is it a kite surfer?
Kite surfer.
Yep. This is the beach at Anegada called Loblolly Beach, and that is an extremely beautiful place where you can see there's not many places here in the Virgin Islands where you actually see the water breaking, like in a surfway. And this isn't surfable on a surfboard, but it is very picturesque because it's surrounded by a reef. Anegada is a coral island as opposed to a volcanic island, so it's totally flat. It's pretty much at sea level. And then around it is the world's second largest barrier reef. And so this makes for a really stunning views from the beach where the water breaks, and it's just gorgeous. The sand is like sugar. It's white sand, very fine. It's every bit as good as it looks, really. You can't improve on it. These are not digitally doctored images. That's the way it looks.
I'm so glad I'm in Utah right now, and it's cold and it's grey and it's miserable, and I'm watching these pictures.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's funny. So it's a bit more of an action shot here again.
Yeah, this is a bit of a time lapse. It was kind of stormy out, so I didn't have any sails up. So we're just motoring along now through this kind of inclement little period. but it doesn't last for long. As you can see, it's very isolated. If we do get rain, it comes and goes very much like Florida or Hawaii. We rarely have to head inside and out of the rain for more than a couple of minutes, and then you're back to the sun.
So the guy's a bit of a diver then?
Yeah, we offer scuba diving aboard at no extra charge. Got a couple of favorite sites that we like to go to. This one is called the Chimney, and it's dramatic swim through over off of Great Dog Island. At this point, I'm just telling him to go ahead because I'd rather have him get the shot without me in it. And so he's going to swim ahead of me and go through this canyon that's called the Chimney, and it's like entering an underground room. It's really fantastic, especially when the sun breaks through like that and you get really down in there. It's a swim through. It's not considered a cave, but you get the feeling of being completely enclosed, and the gap at the end is fairly tight to get through. But boy, after swimming through that, we usually go through it a couple of times because the first time people are so excited that it's over before they even know what they did.
Well, the colours are really coming across well as well, aren't they?
Yeah, that's he's got a red filter on that GoPro, which makes all the difference in the world underwater.
Yeah.
If you don't have that red filter, you're not really going to see very much. This is a trail that's leading through the baths, and this is the approach, and then you hit these boulders and then these pools.
Can we share their first names, your guests?
My chef's name is Maya, M-A-Y-A.
Uh-huh.
And then the guests are Michael and Lindsay.
Michael and Lindsay. So there's two women there.
The other darker skinned woman is the chef, my chef called Maya.
Ah, okay.
And this is a little rope banister that you can use to walk through the baths. That rock gets a little wet and slippery. And then here comes Lindsay. This room is the most famous part of the baths. It's called the Cathedral Room because of the sloped ceiling right there.
This is just so clean is what the thing that jumps out at me.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, there's not a speck of litter anywhere.
Yeah, or even just natural garbage from the sea that aren't
Oh, right. Yeah,
either.
seaweed. Yeah, seaweed and stuff like that. No, it's very good flow and drainage there. Keeps it really pristine.
So we're, what do you call this room?
Now this is the main salon, and this is where the galley is, and the main dining room table, which we've moved inside for this time. Generally, that table is out in the cockpit, out where you can sit outside underneath the roof. Today it looks like we're having a meal or appetizer. It looks like champagne toast inside today.
It's very nice.
Well, it's a nice day. Oh, I think when we had we just put this little table out because we just had two guests, and that makes that outside seating area, the cockpit, easier to get around. But those tables can switch out to where there's just a little cocktail table inside, and then we can put a big table outside if we have 6 diners or 8.
Again, I observe how roomy it is. Having done a bit of sailing on a monohull, I mean, that's the thing that really jumps out at me. It just seems so luxurious by comparison.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, for a 44-foot boat, that's not particularly long by any stretch, you know, compared to monohulls and stuff. But because of the Cat design, it just...
Oh, yeah. Really the boat that I mostly sailed on was a 45-foot. Compared to this, it was cramped.
Yeah, they're narrow. The beam across on here is probably 24 feet, and on most monohulls, half of that or less, I would think. And there's a little barbecue back there by the cooler, so we grill out when the menu dictates. We're doing a little trolling here for wahoo or mahi-mahi, doing a little fishing off the boat, trying to catch some dinner.
Why do you call it trolling?
You set a lure out, and then you drive the boat, so you're not casting and reeling it in all the time. You're just dragging bait behind the boat. That's called trolling.
Okay. Did you catch anything?
We do. We catch mahi-mahi is a popular local fish. We'll catch dolphin. Well, actually, dolphin is another name for mahi-mahi, so most people don't like to say that you're catching dolphin. So
Well, yeah, so you don't literally mean you're fishing dolphin.
oh no, that it's just a dolphin fish. So mahi is the preferred term for that. The fish so nice they named it twice. And then there's also wahoo. We catch barracuda sometimes. We don't eat those, but as a sport fish, you can catch barracuda. Also mackerel. Yeah, we catch mackerel too.
When I went sailing, we went diving and caught some octopus. Can you do that there?
They're really rare here, and the fishing licenses are very restrictive. You have to stick with fish, and you can't do anything like lobster or octopus. Those are highly restricted and protected. This looks like the White Bay at Joost van Dyke, and that's a real party beach. And that's White Bay, probably the prettiest water in the entire British Virgin Islands off of Joost van Dyke.
Looks like some kind of meal going down here.
Yeah, I think this is a roasted chicken. We were having an early Thanksgiving. That looks like just appetizers. There's some baked brie, homemade crostini fruit. And that, I think, is over at the Great Dog. I think that's a shot where we did the chimney, the underwater dive portion. That was what it looks like on the surface. And that's White Bay again, Joost van Dyke.
Same thing. And that's the couple
There's
together.
Lindsay and Michael. I love that shot of him jumping off the back into the water there. Oh, that's cool too. Crystal clear water.
Bit of snorkeling.
With the sea turtle here.
Awesome. Are they common, or is that quite unusual to see that?
Oh, we see a lot of those. And he got all of this just with a snorkel. This wasn't with a scuba tank at all.
Ha!
It's really shallow over at White Bay in Joost.
That does look like fun. All right, and that's it. That's the video.
I think that once you're aboard, you don't have to think anymore. You know, all the meals are provided, all the activities. You're given a choice of what you want to do, how you want your day to go, from what do you want in your coffee till what do you have for after dinner drinks. I mean, so it's nice that you have input in how this vacation goes. It's not regimented, but I make a lot of recommendations, and after a couple of days, usually I get a vibe for what people expect and what they prefer. You know, some people really like beaches, and there's plenty of those. Some people really want to be active in the scuba diving, kayaking aspect. So it's a way to sort of tailor your vacation without being locked in.
When I went on a sailing vacation, something along these lines, one of the things that I remember that I guess is very hard to get on film is at night. The pretty lights, and you can see the sky, you can see the stars, and it's just a different experience, especially if you live in a city.
Oh, it's terrific. You can lay there and just, we have shooting star contests, how many we can get in an hour. It's absolutely gorgeous.
So is there much light pollution there, or do you get a really good view of the sky?
There's zero light pollution here.
Yeah.
The sky is just a bowl of stars. I mean, from horizon to horizon, it's fantastic.
And if you've always lived in a city, you probably don't even really appreciate just how spectacular it is.
Yeah, I think that's a big surprise to a lot of people when they get out here and they're like, I've never seen the sky like this before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wonderful. That's really an event in itself.
That's something that really stuck in my mind. In the evenings, do you typically, or do you ever moor somewhere you're actually in a marina or anything where there's bars, or are you typically just off the shore a little bit? How does that work? What do you typically do?
In most cases, there's a choice. We can either do an isolated anchorage, or we can go where there's other boats and bars and shore action. So it's kind of up to the guests. But yeah, there's always that availability to get to shore and to have some nightlife and some dancing. Or if they prefer, we can go where there's very few boats around, and you wouldn't even know that there's any other boats unless you were looking for them. So it's a nice itinerary where you can do either thing, or you can do both. Some nights on shore, and then other nights they want to just relax and be with their own group.
Well, that's what I remember is just that, which is some nights you spend where there's a lot of activity, and then another night you want to have a really quiet, totally pitch black kind of a night, and that's kind of an awesome experience as well.
Yeah, it's fun when we turn all the lights out on the boat at night and just say, hey, we're going to do a little stargazing and head up to the front with a cocktail and enjoy that, because it just doesn't happen day to day with your life in the States and your jobs and stuff like that. So those events, I think, become really unique without a lot of effort.
So do you get the phosphorescence there if you jump in the water at night?
We do, and that's been looking pretty good. It's very unpredictable, so it kind of depends on the anchorage and the time of year. That is something that we do a night snorkel at the caves in Norman Island, and that's my favorite time to look at that. Other times you can just drop your foot off the back of the boat and swish it around and see that glow as well.
Yeah, that's to experience it. I've never done it as well.
You can also turn off the lights in your bathroom and flush the toilet and see it that way too. But
yes.
A little better snorkeling.
Hey, Robert, that's awesome. Have we just about covered everything now?
I think we have. Terrific. Well,
very, very, very good. Awesome.
Awesome.
Say thanks to Robert for me. Good job.
I will. Robert, good job.
Thanks, Tim.